my chili in the bucket. Now, this was about the Smith River over there. In my hunting camp in the mountains, the Smith River was just below. I took my tents behind the cliff. By gosh, that wind could blow. Now, I had this group from Florida. I'd had a few times before. They had the tent wood stacked so high you couldn't see out the door. But I admit the weather was nasty, maybe 10 or 12 below, and the wind was blowing 40 knots, and there was a foot or more of snow. Well, a coyote came up to our tent, I think to steal some wood. But the temperature dropped 30 degrees, and it froze him where he stood. So I used him for a statue and placed him on the top of the roof of my outhouse, a dainty but smelly spot. Now, I had placed this house of comfort 50 yards upon the hill so you could look across the canyon and see what you could kill. And I put within some seat belts. In case of wind, you see, I thought it might go sliding down the hill with you or me. When that Montana wind is howling like the rear end in my truck, you really better be holding on when my outhouse starts to buck. Well, I just cooked up some chili with lots of onions and cheese, and I doused it full of pepper. It'd make a polecat sneeze. Everyone loved my chili, though my recipe had no name. But the buildup of the pressure is something I can't explain. In just a couple of hours, your belt gets awful tight, and that rumbling noise gets started, and you hold back with all your might. Well, this big old guy from Florida, he was 6'6" or more. He left that tent trotting towards that outhouse door. You could tell he was in a hurry. He unbuckled while on the run, and he just got inside the door when that awful noise begun. In my little house of comfort, he decided to light a smoke. That outhouse lifted off the ground. The smell would make you choke. The damn thing kept on rising. It was headed towards the sky, so I thought I'd better shoot it down before it got too high. So I carefully took my shotgun, and I shot a time or two. Before I hit that bullseye that was looking down at me and you, well, that outhouse, it exploded, caught fire while coming down. It must have thawed that coyote out before he hit the ground. He left that awful wreckage and burned a path right through the snow. And he crossed a couple of mountains before he began to slow. Well, this big old guy from Florida, he was really quite a mess, and his temper was certainly rising when that outhouse came to rest. He heard us all laughing, and his long handles were aflame, near that same old spot where I took such careful aim. Well, there must be lots of reason for a guy to get so mad, but cigarettes and chili in my outhouse, that can really make it bad. So when you eat my chili, be sure you buckle up, 'cause my outhouse is pretty dangerous when it decides to buck.